Everything you're about to hear is for entertainment purposes only. The upcoming conversations are nothing more than the ridiculous opinions of a dropout and a guy dumb enough to be friends with him. Listen, have some fun, but don't ever do, believe, or promote anything they say. They're idiots.
Guys, hold up. You should know, this ain't for everybody. Welcome to Savagely Loud. What's happening, people? Welcome back to the show. I'm glad you're back. I'm glad to be back with you. I'm your host, Cliff Moore, and I am joined today and always by my friend and co-host, Mikey Wold. How are we doing today, Mikey?
I am doing good, man. I'm
fucking liar. You fucking liar.
I'm doing good mentally. But, man, this congestion with these allergies and everything, dude, they're fucking me up right now. It's that congestion that just builds up and it makes your eyes hurt. Like, yeah, super fun. Super fun.
Well, and you've got all of that hair that holds it in. You know, it's like if you think back to that movie, it was in the 90s, I think. I actually love the movie. Yes, believe it or not. It's I think it's called Down to You, where they were at this party and they were all like, you had to all of a sudden, or maybe it was maybe it was Down. I think it was Down to You, where they were at that porno party or whatever for all the not actual sex party, but like the producers and stuff, directors. And then they were all wearing swimming caps and like, you got to smoke hard and then you got to wear this cap because it holds the smoke in. That's what your hair's doing. Yeah. I tried to do the damn it, this thing's fucking. Every now and then my watches piss me off. I don't know.
Yeah, I get it. It's like, I get it. Sometimes, it just gets in the way.
Yeah, and I wear my stuff loose. Like I wear my watches very loose, so I wear it's jewelry, it's bracelets and stuff like that. To me, I like things to dangle. I like a little bit of loose thing. That's why I can't attach a watch to this phone of mine because I can't wear that thing. That I can't. Yeah, I can't do it. I
get it. So I have a nice watch I wear when I go to work or whatever in the office, or I got like a fancy thing to go to. Oh yeah, I mean that thing it's on the loose side for sure. And yeah, I get it.
So okay, let's talk because I like watches.
Yes.
You don't have to answer, but how fancy is this fancy watch? What are we?
It is a Citizen.
Okay.
It's not, Eco Drives.
Okay.
Eco Drives.
Okay. Fucking pretty, I'll bet, because I know you. I know you.
Yeah. I like it.
It is very pretty. Very pretty. I like the color. I like to have a multitude of colors. I just recently got into gold watches, so. I'm that guy. So, I don't mind. I actually like it. I never wore a gold watch before, and I really just always thought I'd feel like some shit that we don't have to name out loud. But I felt like I was gonna feel like that, like I was from that part of town,
Mm-hmm.
I gotta tell you, it feels good to wear a gold watch. It feels really good to wear a gold watch.
I gotta try that once. I mean, just to try it on and see, because gold is something that's just weird to me. Like, I think of gold, I think of the Guidos. Like,
yeah, exactly. Well, and then my thing is like I wear rings. If you're only listening right now, I'm kind of showing my rings, and the number of rings I wear depends on how I feel that day. Sometimes I have a six ring day, and that means I'm not feeling all that awesome about some things, and I'm just waiting for a motherfucker that would, But typically I just wear 4 rings, 2 on each hand. But all my rings are stainless steel. All my rings are either stainless steel. This one's got a little bit of a gold tint to it in the side, but you really can't see it. Yeah. So if I wear a gold watch with this shit, it looks stupid. And if I get it all in gold, it looks even dumber. So on my gold watch days, it's no jewelry that day.
Yeah, too much gold.
So anyway, let's get to it. What's we've already been through a daily drag, but what's the daily drag for the
All
day?
right. So this one is, when you get like an extra goods paycheck, like maybe you worked a lot of overtime that week, or you had a good business deal that day, or something that went through, and something breaks. It's
Mm-hmm.
like the universe knows you have a little bit extra money, and it's like, all right, I got you. Your air conditioner is gonna break, or your
Oh,
car is gonna need new tires today, or yep. Yep.
I
It
know
was one of
this
those.
so well.
I got that Friday when it was hot, and we run hot in this house, so we keep it cool. And the fucking air conditioning was not working, and it was like, fuck. And of course, I had a little bit extra money, and the universe was like, "All right, we got you."
Ugh. God, I know that so well,
Yep.
so well. If anybody knows the story of my first marriage, I know that so well.
Oh
so,
yeah,
uh, so you had to get your AC replaced.
yeah. Well, not replaced. I had to get it fixed. Came out. That was a decent penny, but yeah, it was just one of those. Like, I'm thinking back now, it was just like, oh yeah, I got this, and then my fucking car needed a new fucking alternator. I had to
Yeah,
get it towed there because it died on the way to work.
yeah.
Here I am, a grand later,
Or
and
you go way back in my day, and it's man, I had a couple of good checks in a row. I'm feeling good as far as I know. The bills are paid. And then you pull in, you get out of the car, you walk in the house, and then you look out the front window. You're like, why the fuck is there a tow truck driver fucking hooking up to my car? Oh, somebody forgot to pay the bill and somebody forgot to tell somebody.
oh,
Yeah, I've had some shit like that happen. I'm not saying it's only the other person's fault. I've done some dumb shit in my life. Let's. I
oh yeah,
mean, that's why we're here. We're using all the dumb shit that I've done to learn a little bit from.
oh yeah. Who hasn't done dumb shit?
If you haven't done some dumb shit, and if you haven't done a lot of dumb shit, I will say a lot, you haven't lived. Like you really just,
I agree with
how
that.
much can you learn if you're not getting hit in the face by fate? You know what I mean? Like,
Right? I mean, hell, you make some decisions where it's just like, this is not going to end up good, but fuck it.
yeah, it's like one of those ones. And it seems so funny because when you're an adult and you look at huge gravitational decisions and you're like, man, this is a huge gamble. It's a huge reward if it pays off, but there's a very, very slim chance of that happening.
Right?
And then you ponder it. When you're young, you're like, wow, this is a really big risk and there is zero reward. Sign me up. Let's roll. The dynamic is so much different now because we have to think about every single thing.
It's crazy, man. It's crazy how that shit works.
So, well, at least you got your AC, working.
Yes.
My house, like my wife, she likes I believe they call it desert wasteland in my house. She likes it really warm in my house. See, she doesn't necessarily keep it that way. She's not that kind of person. Like if I want it, I'm gonna get it. But if it's up to her, like the AC doesn't come on until it's like 163. Which it doesn't, and then that's really terrible because sometimes, I mean, anybody that doesn't know me and my wife, we're polar opposites. I'm 6'2", 260, and she's like 5'5", a buck 10 soaking wet. So,
Mhm.
she runs cold, and I'm like fucking always dying. So, it is that. It is
Oh
what it
yeah.
is.
We run hot in this house. Like at night it's like 62. And it's like, oh yeah, I can get under the blankets and warm up that way.
Oh, I couldn't do 62. I mean, I like,
Took
wow, that's
it,
wow.
it took me and the girls a little bit to get used to it for sure. But yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Now
I
we're-
see what's going on. Let's be honest. It's not a we run hot. It's a we run hot.
well, now I'm used to it. So now we run hot.
See, and I'm the kind of dude that I have zero problems because I work outside. Like I work in a shop. So I'm outside. I'm in the ambient temperature. So I'm the dude that I have zero problem paying extra in the summer to come home to a cool house.
Oh yeah.
Zero problem coming home, paying extra coming home in the winter to a warm house. You know what I mean?
Oh
So
yeah.
But I will say that since actually marrying my wife now, she has taught me a whole lot about, like if you just run it an hour less, yeah, what kind of difference that really makes.
It makes quite a difference.
And it took some wars to get there, but like our topic today, we as Americans are kind of addicted to war, so
Yes, yes, we are.
let's break it down because wars are everywhere, and I in getting into this, I don't want to. I don't want to hit the government end so much. I mean, I'm sure we'll bounce off of it, but I don't want to hit the government end so much because everybody knows the government's addicted to war. We've had United States presidents and vice presidents and other, cabinet members admit to this. We've had businessmen, billionaires admit to this. We've had leaders of foreign countries admit to this. This isn't something that we need to break down. What I actually want to break down is I want to get into the psychology of the American populace. It's the people that are addicted to war, but it's in so many contradictory ways. It's hard to understand where people are at, and I think that's one of the leading, contributing factors to the confusion that we have today in society.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree with that. I would say this more than an American thing. I think humans in general are addicted to war and violence. I mean, you go back to the earliest of times. I mean, you look at, the fucking Coliseum. Everyone loved it. I mean, and then you look a little bit past that. Like, everyone loved fucking, public executions and shit like that. Like, that was a fucking, the highlight of your month if you got to see it hanging.
Oh, yeah.
Or whatever, or, torture shit in, medieval times. Like, we as humans love violence. I don't care what you say.
Yeah. Yeah. That's 100% fact. I mean, like it or not, that is a fact. And here's the thing is, like, and we can break that down because it plays right into it. Damn it, I'm all Mikey just sneezed on camera and it was totally silent. It was funny or no. I don't know. For some reason, watching people sneeze completely silently is fun. But we can break that down because people love violence, but when you talk to them, they don't.
No.
Well,
yeah,
you get I'm talking. Yeah, well, like when you talk them surface level, like okay, so we'll say let's take the right wingers, right? The people that are typically related more closely to our views of things.
Yeah.
I'm staunchly in the middle, so the extreme right can suck as many dicks as the extreme left. But when you hear from them, when they start talking and screaming and shouting, they like to talk about I go to fucking war with anybody. I go to fucking war with anybody. And then all you got to do is just ask them if they'd send their kid.
Yes.
And that changes things.
Oh, yes.
And then once you get to that level of conversation with somebody, when you get past that, because they fight you back, because I have this conversation quite a bit. They fight you back, and they want to push back on you. But once you get down to that level where, no, you wouldn't send your kid to die for the cause that you're saying that other people should go send their children to die for. Why are you doing that? Do you truly just want other people to die? Do you just truly want people you don't know to hurt, to not eat, to suffer, and then to perish miserably? Is this really what you want? And then inevitably people say, well, fuck no, that's not what I want. And when you have this conversation and you have it like this, people always open up. Like they start like thinking about things like, well, yeah, I guess, I really don't. Like, ask your if somebody's on a tangent about war, ask them if they want their neighbor to not eat. Like, do you wake up any day of the week and like truly want your neighbors, all of them, to just not eat? Like, not necessarily be bombed, but just not eat.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nobody is that kind of person. It's we're just not. When we get up on like you said, the high horse, the war rhetoric, that's tribal thinking. That's group think. You're just trying to be part of the fucking crowd. You're trying to rally the fucking, be the one to rally the troops, be the hero.
Yeah, be part of something. But yeah, I mean, nobody wants to be a part of it. I would say, okay, nobody there are people that want to be in it, but deep down, I think most people don't want to be a part of it. They like the violence and the war, or they hate the war, but they don't really want to be a part of it.
Yeah.
And even the ones that are like, why can't we all just get along? They're usually the first ones to throw a stone.
Yeah. Well, they all, yeah, especially in modern society, well, as we would call it, modern society, today's society,
Yeah,
they are the first to cast.
yeah, and they don't care who they throw it at. I mean, they'll eat their own, they'll eat us. They don't really give a shit. But they're the ones screaming the loudest for no violence. Violence doesn't have a place here. But
Yeah, but the reality is, violence is what created the safe place for you to espouse that stupid rhetoric.
yes, oh yeah, and you need it to a point. Otherwise,
I think it's a lot like football. Okay, and this is again ties into I just don't like football. And
yeah,
it's the fan base. It's the fan club that does it for me. It's not the sport. Okay.
yeah,
But it's like football. War is okay, and before you take this out of context, anybody listen to me all the way through. War is like football when it comes to the American populace. Most people, they say they love it, but if you said, "Hey, let's get you on the field," they'd be like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, wait, what are you talking about?" Everybody, you could take the biggest sports fan out there, and most likely, if you say, "Hey," and I don't know who the what the positions are, but whoever tackles motherfuckers really, 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 really viciously, if you say, "Yeah, you can go get on the field and have him tackle you," dude's gonna think twice. It's just the way it is. He'll be up there with his buddies saying, "Oh yeah, we got to go to war with whoever and so ever, wherever." But if they said, "All right, let's get your boots on the ground,"
yeah, let's go. We're gonna go to hey man, we're gonna go now. Oh
you
yeah,
know,
they wouldn't.
they
No, they would be like, no thanks.
they just want to be part of the team that won. So
Yes,
it doesn't matter. They really kind of just want to be the towel boy or the launderer for the uniforms, like in the back where it's real safe. But
yeah.
they can be part of the team, and we see that with every sports team, because
Oh yeah.
when a sports team, any sport across the globe, when
Hmm.
any sports team wins a fucking major game, what do their fan base say? We did it.
We did it.
We did it.
Hmm.
Yep. When America wins a war, what does the population say? We did it. But
Yep.
they didn't help do it.
They weren't part of that shit.
you know.
Yeah, your bumper sticker or your flag, they didn't do anything for the guy overseas.
Now, and and we used to do things. Okay, so we worked when I had the charity club, Cynical Saint Social Club. We did a lot of stuff with this thing called Operation Care Package, and we would get together and we would donate a bunch of shit, and then we'd help them pack up the boxes. And it was like granola bars, like Tastes of Home magazines, kind of shit like that. They would send, we'd just fucking box up truckfuls of these things, and then they'd send them out. And then when people would come back, I didn't say, "We did it." And I was actually involved in something, even if it's just a little bit of a morale boost for an hour. You know what I mean? Like, we got to stop taking so much part in other people's wars. Like, it's other people's accomplishments, other people's responsibilities, other people's disputes, even
Yeah.
go ahead.
Oh no, I was agreeing with you.
I mean, even on a human level, like, let's cut it all the way down. Okay. So you talk to normal people and they say, "Oh, like, you ask them, do you agree with a war?" You just come out and be like, "Do you agree with a war?" And typically they'll be like, no, I don't agree with war. And
Yeah.
then you start talking about something that, like, I mean, people are really easy to read. I don't know if it's a me thing or if it's an everybody thing, but I just walk up to people and it just, like, everything they like is listed out on a piece of paper, like RoboCop, like right in front of me, And so you just, like, you just bring up a topic that, you pick out a Ukraine button on their backpack or some shit, and be like, "Oh yeah, war is terrible." Do you think what would you think if, like, Ukraine just turned the tables on Russia and then went in there and fucking invaded and fucking killed their people and fucking got their minerals, and you can get them amped up, and then they'd be like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah," and then again, would you go?
No,
Not going. You're not going.
no.
And then you cut it down to even like on a societal level. Take that same person and ask them the same questions. Do you agree with war? They'll say no. You go through all that and they say no. Let them be standing in a fucking Starbucks line in Seattle and have a guy with a fucking MAGA hat walk in.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, this person that doesn't agree with the senseless killing based on political ideologies, which is what war is typically,
Yes.
all of a sudden wants this fucking guy's life over. He or she wants this guy to die because of a fucking hat he's wearing and a political ideology he subscribes to.
Right.
And then ask him again after their rant about how he should die or be tortured or be put in a fucking concentration camp. Ask them their stance on war again, and they'll be like, well, war is bad. Get the fuck out of here.
Like, Tesla dealerships. I mean, they're the ones that are doing it aren't the ones that are like, war is awful. I mean, war is a necessity. It is. I mean,
it's sad that it is, but and it doesn't have to be. It really doesn't have to be. Me and my wife were talking about that earlier. As long as we have people's innate bloodlust and greed for power and control, war will be a necessity.
yeah. And I think that's just part of human nature. And I think war will always be a necessity.
Yeah, and I don't disagree, and I'd actually kind of like to explore that idea a little bit. So let's say all wars did end. All war ended, and what was that movie? Was that the Time Cop or Judge Dredd? It was with Sandra Bullock and Sylvester Stallone.
Yeah, Judge Dredd.
Super polite society, blah 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 blah.
Oh yes,
you know what I mean? And they had the shells. That we still don't know how it worked.
Demolition Man.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
Snipes. Yep.
Let's say all war ends.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's talking out their problems, and then you get to a point where there aren't really that many problems. What does society look like then? Because it would seem to me now, if we factor in conspiracy theories, of course this is for entertainment purposes and it's only theories. If we mix in the conspiracy theory that we've been told, been hearing since we were children and before about peak population, the world can't sustain this many more people. The world can only sustain, what are they saying now, like 12 billion or 13 billion, and we'll reach that in 35 years or whatever. In the 80s, they were saying less. In the 90s, they were saying less. In the 2000s, they were saying less.
Climate change.
So, yeah. So where does society look like then when nobody's got any problems with anybody? Because you got to figure this is now you've got number one, people are breeding like never before.
Yeah.
They're just getting it on like rabbits at every possible opportunity because they don't have any problems and there's nothing else to do but stick your dick in things. But here's the problem with that. On top of more people being made, we're not losing millions of people a year in these wars. And we do lose millions of people a year in these wars. All of them, even the ones mostly the ones you don't hear about. You know what I mean? So,
yeah.
When we have, let's say I don't know. I can't wrap my head around what the population looks like, what society looks like when nobody's dying and there's exponentially more people being born than ever before. I understand that plays into what Elon and a few other top end thinkers believe should happen, but it seems weird because it seems like it's a recipe for disaster because we've been being told we shouldn't be breeding because we're going to reach peak population, and now we're like, we can't have enough people.
I don't know if it would really, I'm thinking like in the ideal world, like, utopia, no wars, war is done, everyone's in peace. I don't know if there would be more children, more breeding going on.
Oh, there absolutely would be, and I would point to statistics that say that white people are actually breeding. White people and heavy earners are breeding less and less and less because things are unsafe. It's not a stable world. It's the whole principle behind the movie Idiocracy. And it was a problem back then, and that's why they made the movies. So technically, we are looking at that.
I can see that. COVID babies are a thing.
Yeah. Isn't that fucking weird? COVID babies they're the new boomers. They're going to be the new boomers. You watch. COVID babies are going to be the new boomers, obviously fucking 50 years into the future. But, all the COVID babies, they think they know what's best for the world. Yeah. Fucking old dinosaurs need to fucking die so we can have no war.
Oh, yeah. But I don't think it'll ever get to that point. I think human nature, just in of itself, it'll never get to the point where there's no wars. No. There may not be. Yeah, there will always be wars. There will always be some sort of war. It might not be the ones you hear about, but there will be wars going on.
Well, yeah, and most of the wars we hear about them all the time, but they're proxy wars, so we don't put two and two together. Like, we don't understand that we are actually funding this country to fight this country for us.
Yes.
All over the fucking world. Yeah, we fund a lot of other countries to fight a lot of other countries for us.
We do. War is a moneymaker. I mean, it is. War makes money.
Yeah, and that's as true as it gets.
That's why people and big corporations love it. It is the moneymaker at the end of the day.
Speaking of moneymaker and war, have you seen any of the recent videos out of Belgrade?
I have not.
The Belgrade attack. So in Belgrade, they had, I think 325,000 people march. Okay. Fuck it. I mean, the city was full. All of a sudden, 325,000 people got the fuck out of the road in a hurry. You should look up that video. Just look up Belgrade attack, and you'll see it. It's people flooded in the street, completely silent. And what it is I forgot what it's called. I did look it up. I watched a couple of videos on it. It's like an anti-detention device or some shit. And what it does is it's a truck-mounted directed energy weapon, and it sends a quote man-sized beam of energy that just forces people out of the way. And then I was watching training videos with it, and like they were lining up Marines and shit, and then they didn't know when it was going to hit, and then all of a sudden they were just like, get the fuck out of here. Like it's wild. It's wild. But in that's scary, because Belgrade is a country in turmoil. And now they're suppressing the citizens' abilities. I'm not going to say that they have a right, because I don't know that they do, but they're suppressing the citizens' abilities to unite. Yes. And that is and they're doing it in a far more physical, confrontational manner. Nobody knows. This is all unfounded information. Nobody knows for a fact that that's what it was, but that's fucking what it was. If you know what it was, So now it's hostile takeover, and then you start thinking like, okay, if you were that people, if you were in that country, how would you be operating under those circumstances? Would you now enter that mental state where you're ready for anything, and we're just going to have to go to war, or it's not going to, or would you still hold on to that kind of peace where you've actually felt that energy, felt that directed energy weapon push you out of the way, and what would that do to your view of the world and the weapons that we actually have?
Sure, if that happened to me, I would be like, the fuck? What else is out there that they have? Like, okay, that was directed at me to move. I'm sure they have something that can be directed at me that'll make my head pop or something.
Oh, yeah.
And that'll be it. Or my heart just explodes inside, non-violent, but you didn't have to put a hole in me. Or
like a vaccination, maybe? Gotta get your vaccinations. Yeah, it's I don't know that it would do that. I don't know what it would do to my mind, but I do put myself, when I think about kind of things like that, I put myself in the situation here in America, because I'll be honest with you, I don't know that we can get to a point in America now. I think we are way beyond the PSR. We're way beyond the point of safe return here to swing this thing around and start compromising, because every time we try to get a compromise, everybody seems to hate it. So what we're seeing everybody's divided. And the problem now is, we used to come together. We used to compromise. We might not love it. We might walk away pissed off and shaking our fist, but we did it. Yes. Now we're in a situation where everybody wants everybody to fucking die that doesn't agree with every single fucking statute that they are, standard that they live by. Mm-hmm. So what happens then? I mean, we're even in a point where the government goes, hey, we found out the government, and we're ratting them out. We're ratting ourselves out. We found out the government was taking trillions of your dollars to fund bullshit things all over the place, then eventually funneled it back to their pockets. Yeah. And people got mad about it. People are mad. People are fucking fuming. How dare you?
Yeah. How dare you? And like it's the boggleness of why they're so angry. I don't understand that part. Like
yeah, and to be and just
like
to let the reality seep to the fucking wayside just because of who might have found it.
Yes. Oh, for sure. I mean, yeah. Musk, so, and Trump made Musk find it. And I mean, hell, there's even videos now that I'm seeing up of Obama in fucking 2006 or some shit saying like, yeah, there's a lot of waste.
Yeah. Yeah, that was part of his campaign, fixing the waste problem. And that's a funny thing about Doge, is because if you trace it back, Doge is not an original idea. It was actually called the Obama panel.
Yes. Yeah. They renamed it to Department of Government Efficiency, but it's not new.
Like when you say that to people, they're misinformation, false information, fake news, that's bullshit. And then you show them documentation of it, or point them in the direction of where they might be able to find it themselves. So you're not doing everything for these fucking dumbasses, They're nah. And that's where we're at, though, as a society. Yeah. Nobody believes the truth, even when you document it, when it's right in front of their face and there's a million people saying this is the truth. Look at fucking COVID. The doctors that wrote the books on how to treat this shit said masks don't work. Fauci said masks don't do shit. And when they went, oh, wait a minute, you mean that medical company way over there could make a lot of fucking money and then funnel some of that back towards this way? If we say that you should wear masks, and then everybody fucking wear a mask. Oh my God, we got to put our masks on. Like, they told you the truth.
Yes. Oh yeah. They told you the truth. And they even told you the truth after the fact. Like, yeah, social distancing, that was bullshit.
Yeah.
And it's like, dude, you were separated from people for a year, if not longer, depending on how much you believed in it. And they're telling you that, yeah, we just made that up.
Yeah.
Just to fuck with you guys.
Yeah. When they got questioned, where did you get the number from? Oh, well, we just kind of devised it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just kind of devised it. And now we're still seeing people today in 2025, after everything has come out, and Fauci's bordering on being prosecuted by every state in the nation.
Right.
They're still wearing fucking masks, and they're still bitching at other people for not wearing masks.
Yeah.
So you are, again, in a society that refuses to acknowledge or involve itself in the truth for one common goal of the betterment of the country. They just want everybody to fucking die. Like, dude, everybody said it's bullshit that made you do it. They said the tests were bullshit. They said the fucking thing was everything they told you, they said was 100% bullshit to your face. And you're going, nope, Nope. I'm not going to believe it. Nope. Nope.
Nope. Hey, Cliff, sorry, man, I didn't go Sunday. I lied to you about why I didn't go Sunday.
Nope.
Like,
Nope.
nope.
You're the asshole still.
It's just like, good God, people. And like, at first with the masks, after COVID and all that shit, people were still wearing them. I was like, dude, whatever floats your boat, but don't tell me to wear my mask. But now it's like, dude, why the fuck are you still wearing a mask? Because they're the people getting mad that I'm not wearing it 5 years later.
Right.
Like, why do you care so much about what I'm doing? Worry about you, dude.
Yeah.
I don't.
Well, they can't worry about them because it's been proven by all their people that they have to worry about what you're doing because everything they did didn't work.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that goes back to the original point. Like, dude, we're violent in nature, and I mean, they don't agree with me. They don't have the same beliefs I do, so they must die. They must get beaten. Something.
Yeah, and I think we would have seen a lot of that had Kamala won. Had
Oh yeah,
Princess Word Salad, had she won, dude, we would have seen. We would have already been in catastrophic circumstances because it would have been a civil war. And unfortunately, man, I really hate to say this, but unfortunately, I don't know that we can solve our issues without that civil war. Because
I get it, dude.
It's like, and here's the thing. I think when the Civil War happens, it's going to matter greatly who is in office, as in what party.
Yeah.
Personally, I think that it's going to be a Democrat in office because we now have a very long track record, even in recent years, post 2000. We have a long track record of divisive remarks, policies. We have all the receipts that we need to know that the Democrats are a fucking absolute satanic fucking shitty fucking party hell bent on the destruction of the country.
Oh, they are for sure.
I will also, though, caveat. I will also say that won't say that the Republicans are the saviors. No. Let's be honest here. The saviors of this country are going to be the people in the middle that are doing podcasts to, like fucking 6 people. Thank you to all 10 of our listeners.
Part of that 12 people.
But and here's to make this even scarier. Here's how I think it's going to happen. I think so. Scenario one. Here's the good case scenario one. Trump finishes out his presidency. He does all the shit he said he was going to do that, outside of the shit that he said he was going to do that he already hasn't fucking delivered on. Fuck that guy. But let's say he does most of what he says he's going to do. And we actually see some financial breaks in this country. We start seeing manufacturing actually come back, not just seeing business owners like, or corporations like Porsche and we're going to build chips, or we're going to build cars and we're going to. Once let's say we actually see the shit, we actually have more money in our pockets. Then we look at perfect case scenario, Vance. We've got 8 years of Vance as president because he'll be rung through the ringer. I mean, when you can't be not rung through the ringer if you're attached to Trump. Like,
oh no, he's already
vice president. You're gonna get squeezed. He's
already been through a ringer or two.
So the perfect case scenario is we get Vance, and I actually think that Vance will do a better job than Trump. Not an easier job. I don't think he'll have an easier time doing it because a lot of what Trump does, this big shit, seems easy for him because the people he deals with know not to underestimate him, not to ever think you're going to overestimate him, not to expect a single fucking thing but Donald Trump to be Donald Trump, So they have that fear factor. Vance doesn't have the fear factor, at least yet. He may create the fear factor in a different way, but I think he'll do it in a more reined in. An elegance and an eloquence, yes. Because I really like Vance. I'll be honest with you, I'm half torn. If I had the opportunity to swap him out for Trump right now, I'd think long and hard about it. I really, really would.
I like Vance a lot. I think he'll do fantastic. He is very well spoken, and he doesn't seem to talk like he doesn't take shit first. Like
Right.
he's like, yeah, this is how it is. But the way he does that too is like, all right, you're a good dude on that
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
You don't let your emotions play into your decisions, but you'll kick a guy in the nuts if you have to.
Yeah.
You'll
But
rein it
yeah.
in.
So, but perfect case scenario, we get 8 years of Vance, and that's under the predication, the understanding that Vance, the way I'm looking at Vance is as a uniter. Let's say because we had Obama, who was absolutely 100% divisive right from the get, just because of who he was and how he got there. He was already divisive, and then his entire presidential legacy is that of division. It's divide people as hard as you can. And then we had, then we got a little taste of the Republican bullshit again. And then we had, we've had the extremes now very recently, because as far as I'm concerned, the Biden administration, Biden wasn't president. He had the name tag, but he didn't do any of the things. He didn't make any of the calls. So we had Biden, who was the Biden administration, who was the absolute extreme as you could get on the left side. Open borders, let the fucking criminals out of prison. I mean, let everybody fucking shoot up heroin on the street corners outside of fucking preschools. It was extreme as you could get. And now we have Trump, who is being the bad dad, which is a good thing because we need it. But he is the other extreme. He's reining it all back in, like he's overcorrecting, and I don't want to say overcorrecting in necessarily as a derogatory statement, but there is some overcorrections happening, but they need to happen because the car was so far out of control that you gotta wiggle it around until you find the right spot. So, and he's only been in there for a couple months, so I'm giving him some grace, but he is as extreme as you get. I think he's as extreme as you get as a president ever. Doesn't matter what side of the aisle you fall on.
Yeah.
He's extreme as you get. So I'm looking at Vance with hopeful eyes as maybe he'll be the uniter. He can speak softly enough to where people will listen to him on both sides of the aisle. And yes, and I think but if he gets presidency, I think it is going to take his entire, at least first term, just to get people to calm down a little bit. To get people to calm down a little bit.
Oh yeah.
Second term, he can get some stuff done, but
yeah. And I think he'll it's gonna take the whole fucking first term because everyone's gonna be super pissed off about what happens in these 4 years.
Yeah.
I mean, we're all incredibly divided.
Yeah.
And, to go back to war, like it's either going to be civil war or we're going to enter a war, and that's going to bring us to be united.
Yeah.
I think in recent terms, we weren't the most united we've been in recent terms was after 9/11. Now,
9/12, yep.
That was whatever.
No, I absolutely do not disagree with you.
But I think that for those couple years, we were literally one nation.
Yeah. I wouldn't, I will give you the couple of years because we were more united, but I think that first month.
Oh yeah.
That first month, if we could get, back to that first month, that 9/12 to 10/12, even maybe to 11/12, we would have something. Yes. But that is exactly what the government can't have.
Correct.
So we're gonna get this rigmarole and this bullshit just fed to us all the time. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But
I think their plan on that one backfired.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, the problem is again, I'll say it. They can't outrun the internet. Like the government is operating with 1960s, 70s, and 80s, MOs. But we're living in 2025, and everybody has the information now. So, but so perfect case scenario. You got Vance in there. He spends the first 4 years getting everybody to calm down. He spends the second 4 years getting everybody to unite. Okay. Mm-hmm. That's the perfect case scenario. Where it goes from there, I don't know. But here's the scenario I have a very, very sinking feeling that could play out. So the next election, the Democrats are absolutely not going to run a woman or a person of color. It's not going to happen. They tried that multiple times and it didn't fucking work. So they're going to go with what works. They're going to run a white guy. Well, who would be the white guy that they would probably want to run?
I mean, right now it'd have to be Newsom.
It would be Newsom. Why? Because he says, does, thinks, feels, and whatevers anything that he's told by his puppeteers.
Yes.
Well, they tried to push him up before, and the whole fucking country was like, no, this isn't what we're doing. We see what you did with Canada. We see what you did with California, and you fucked that all to hell. And that, I get it. You got a shit show, but somehow you made it a dumpster fire. Like, you know. Well, if we see what's happening, if you look at what's happening now, he's got a podcast. I just made a video about this shit. He's got a podcast now. He's got his own podcast, Gavin Newsom Show, whatever it is. And if you pay attention and you know the game, you know the play that's being played right now.
Oh, yeah, they're for sure trying to.
So what's happening now is if you listen to his podcast, you will notice that he's talking to all the Republican and conservative thought leaders, nation leaders, cult leaders. He's talking to all them. Well, what's going to happen at the next election? They're going to push him forward and they're going to say, oh no, he's not a leftist. He's a centrist now, because for the last 4 years, he's been teeing off with all the conservative thought leaders. He's been teeing off with all the Republican Party leaders. If you're going to elect a man that can take down the Republicans, it's Gavin Newsom, because he's been doing it for 4 years.
Yeah.
You already see the play, you know? Now we've got to hope that people don't lose sight of the play. Yeah.
It'll be a very interesting election in 4 years. It'll be very interesting midterm election in 2 years. Like, see, what happens there.
Well, Trump has currently his highest approval rating of any president in the history of the United States. And on top of that, more of the country, at 76% of the people polled. Now, mind you, I don't put a lot of weight in polls, but they can be a feeler.
Yeah.
They can be a temp check, on society is basically how I look at it. But 76% of Americans believe that the country's headed in the right direction. Mm-hmm. That doesn't necessarily mean every single thing, that it's doing is in the right direction. But overall, broad spectrum, the country's heading back to where it should be. I would fall into that. I believe the country's heading back to the way it should be. We're heading back to a place of truth and honesty. But that also, once you rip that, this is a big Band-Aid that's been ripped off. Yeah. It's being ripped off. Once you rip that size Band-Aid off, people are going to fucking fire up. And we've got a lot of people in this country that just want to hurt everybody else in this country.
Yep. Go back, look at the Tesla dealerships. Like, they're getting vandalized and all this shit here in Lake County. Yeah. It's like, you hear those stories and it's just like, wow, that's fucked up. And then it's like, oh no, they did that shit in Buffalo Grove. Yeah. And it's like, good God, there wasn't even cars there. Like, it was just a new building for it.
And it shows you how fucking stupid people are, and the lengths that they are willing to go to, just to cost someone else, whatever that price may be that they've costed. That it's the lengths that they will go to cost someone else.
Nope.
These people are obviously not doing anything with their lives. Like, the people that are doing things with their lives are, I'm not saying they're not talking shit. I'm not saying they don't hate Elon. I'm not saying any of that. But they're not burning down dealerships. They're not spray painting fucking artwork. They're not popping tires. Like, this is kiddie shit. Yeah. And if we just authorized the killing of, the first 10 a month, the first 10 major vandals you get a month, you kill them right in the fucking street. And then, you scoop their body up and fucking send it in a bag back to their parents with a fucking, maybe a year sentence for their parents for raising such a shitbag. Things would change pretty quickly.
this is what your kid did now.
Yeah.
You need to help rebuild this building.
Yep.
Well, we didn't do it. Hey, man. Yeah. Hey,
You brought that fucking piece of shit into this world.
you didn't wrangle him in before
Yeah.
it got to the
How come is that? Like, how come that is every time a person, an adult even, goes out and just like nails it, just wins at life and does really great shit for other people, maybe starts a $1 billion business that employs all these people. The parents are all like, we did that. That's us. That's awesome. We're so great. Oh my God. Can you believe what we did, what we gave to the world? Oh, what a gift. But when that motherfucker is the one that crawls up on the building and then shoots 17 people at a fucking parade, all of a sudden the parents don't want any fucking credit. Well, he makes his own decisions.
Yep.
This is just like the war thing. Do you want war and the senseless killing of other people to stop? Or do you really want the guy in the MAGA hat to die?
Exactly. I mean, you find those parents once in a while, and they're like, I don't know. Like, I feel awful. Like, they take responsibility for it to some point. And there's legit fucking empathy for these people. Like, but most of the time, yeah, it's exactly like that. And it's God, I lost my train of thought too, but
Stupid allergies.
yeah,
Sniffling and shit.
It's gotta get through a lot of snot to get out.
Yeah, it's it's an odd thing, and I really can't say that I understand or I can fathom where that line is for humans to stop the war, because here's another issue to stack on things. We're living in a time where even my generation, your generation, whereas you're both 42, we have been so desensitized to violence, to gunshots, to murder. The only thing that I really believe that society hasn't quite really been desensitized to, but they're working very hard at it, is pedophilia. I don't think that we're ready to accept that yet as a society, but they keep pushing it.
That one's gonna be hard to do.
Yeah, and I don't want to say gonna because I hope it never happens.
Yes, I mean, well, I'm saying gonna.
Yeah, I totally get it.
It's not gonna happen.
Yeah,
like I don't see that one happening. I think there's just a deep in bed thing. Like, no, that's where the line is.
Well, you know what? It's a power control thing. We all have it in us. We want to, we're tribalists and we want to be the head of our tribes. The biggest problem with that is when weak people get that need, that insatiable bloodlust for power. When weak people get that, they prey on children and they prey on people that are weaker than them. And that's the problem, is you're not taking control of anything but the horrific status that this person is living in, or state that this person is living in.
Yeah. Oh, it's sad, man. I have no sympathy for fuckers like that. Like, y'all deserve to fucking, oh God.
Well, and
fuckers like that.
Yeah, like why can't we pick one thing as a people and kind of agree on that? Like, let's start a pedophiles. Like, okay, maybe people shouldn't rape children. What say you? What say you? Okay, so everybody agrees. All right, so we have common ground now. Let's start from here. Let's talk about how we kill them, like when we find them. Now, you say it that way. This is how I would do it. If I was holding this meeting, I would, I got everybody to agree that we don't like pedophiles. I would say, okay, now let's start talking about how we kill them. And as soon as somebody goes, well, we can't kill him, kill that motherfucker.
Yep.
That's a sympathizer. That is somebody that is willing to let other people get hurt for their own personal virtue, their own personal feeling of righteousness, of not hurting another person. They're willing to let people. So how do we kill them? We can't kill them. Bang, done. Sympathizers are out. Now, how do we kill them? And then you just march down the list. And then you go topic to topic. Okay, we got pedophiles out of the way. How do we feel about rapists? Well, bam, done. Sympathizers out. You start on the level of who wants to hurt other people and who's okay with it. And once you weed those motherfuckers out, I guarantee It doesn't matter how far away from the middle you might find yourself with another person, you will always have that. You know what I
Oh
mean?
yeah, I think so. I think yeah, I would agree with that. Yes.
I've been in situations where it was about to get pretty fucking hairy, you know, and one of them wasn't even with me. I just burst in. I'm like, all right, we can all agree that we don't like these people and we don't like these people, right? You don't like them, they don't. So, do you want to go to prison to prove it,
Yeah.
or do you want to walk away? You know, like,
Yeah.
it seems kind of hard decision when you put it like that. It seems stupid. Like, if you go to prison, is he gonna feel bad? Probably
No.
not. Or is he going to be super happy about it? You know,
Yeah.
it's just like if everybody, all right, so we're all fighting. Okay, the blacks and the whites and the fucking Mexicans and the browns and the yellows, and we're all fighting. Okay, so okay, who thinks we should be able to fuck little kids? Okay, kill all them people first. Start getting a business.
Yep.
You know? We don't have to go to war with each other. You know, because most people, I know people, I never say this. I never say most people are good because I hate that. I hate that statement because I don't think most people are good. I think most people are not bad.
Yes.
There's a very strong distinction between being a good person and being a not bad person.
Yes.
You know, not bad doesn't take any effort. Good takes a lot of effort, and most people don't put that in. So
No.
most people are not bad people. That means there's some sort of way that we can kind of chat this shit out beyond the things that we have as a society have drawn lines on, right? You know,
But that's one of those things like everyone's got to be willing to come to the table. Like
yeah,
that.
yeah, how do you find that? Like, you know, then you get to the Gavin Newsom thing. Like, if everybody's willing to come to the table, somebody's not gonna get their way. And
Yeah.
is that going to be okay with that person? You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
A good compromise is nobody walks away happy.
Nobody should walk away perfectly happy from a compromise.
Correct.
Otherwise, it's just like everybody got what they wanted, and that seems
Somebody's
fishy.
getting fucked at the end. Yeah.
That's sus, bro. It's so sus, bro.
That's so lit.
That means good, right?
Yeah.
I said today, okay, so I pulled into the fucking Meijer to do the grocery shopping, right? And obviously I'm by myself because my wife's working, and I pull in, and my wife does not like any fucking thing from the 80s, the 70s. Like, she is not a car person from the 80s, the 70s, 60s, 50s, and especially earlier. She's all about that shit, and she's all about new shit. But I rolled in and I seen this fucking like 1980 something fucking or late 70s fucking AMC pile of shit. I was like, hey, I got you a new whip, babe. She's like, well, I don't know what a whip is, but I definitely don't want that car. How about that?
Now, that one I'm going to have to question. Because that was around when we were younger.
Yeah, pip my ride, man. Well, let me see the whip, dog.
I mean, you know, that one, yeah. Yeah. And we're like, what's rad?
Yeah.
What? What do you mean, what's rad?
Yeah. So, do you think? Okay, so when we would circle this back around, do you think that there is any way, honestly, and I actually want to put you on the spot here, is do you think in your heart of hearts that there is any way that America comes back from the brink of what it's facing now societally, given the parameters of what could take place, being we kind of talk this shit out and peace happens, or we civil war and the country goes full reset? Mind you, of all the people that are involved in that civil war, we have to take things into account.
Yeah.
What do you actually think?
I mean, I've said this for a few years now. I think a civil war we're right there on the cusp of it's inevitable. Like we're We're right there on the fucking edge. We're teetering on it. Like it's inevitable. Like we're going to have a civil war at some point in time. When that point in time is, I don't know. Um, but man, do we get our country back to the way it was pre, I'm gonna say pre 2000s. I don't know, man.
The 90s was a phenomenal fucking time for unity.
Yes.
It really was. And you know, the saddest part of that is during the 90s, and trust me when I say this, that the 90s was a magical time for unity, because during the 90s I wasn't in the unity mindset. I was a skinhead. So I was complete segregation, separation, division, let's knock it all out, you know? But I still lived through it, and I got to see it. And when you get to see that kind of movement, that unifying movement of music and media and the people and the artists and the creators, from the opposition standpoint, you really get a new appreciation for it.
Yeah.
Because I was looking at all of the unifying factors of people and the unifying qualities that people were trying to portray and promote as the enemy, as the opposition. That was the problem I was trying to have to deal with. And when I look back now, I have such a different appreciation for that time that
Sure.
I've stuck there, you know, like I haven't found anything as brilliant as that beyond
Oh no.
beyond the 90s. So I'm stuck there, but it was a fantastically beautiful time for unification of a people.
Yes, it was. That was a great time for us as a society. You know, I don't see us getting back to that point anytime soon. I think
Yeah.
even if the perfect scenario happened, it wouldn't get back to that point. And, you know, if the inevitable happens of a civil war, whenever that happens, um, dude, that's gonna be interesting how that plays out. Like, that's gonna be interesting. Like, what
Yeah.
is, I don't necessarily see the extreme on the left winning, but you know, you never know. So those motherfuckers are crazy, but they'll eat their own. So like
Yeah.
that's one of those where you can almost sit back and let them fight their own battles, and then at the end of the day, you have five people to fight.
Right. Well,
You
there
just
seems to be a lot of them. There's
yes,
numbers. So they got the numbers. Well, we're going to say allegedly they got the numbers. We only know what we see on the internet and the TV and whatever, you know, anything you're looking at on a screen could be bullshit. So
well, I
I
mean,
don't see a lot of fucking blue-haired rallies anywhere around us.
I gotta say it's a lot of bullshit, and then it's a lot of pumping their numbers up to make them look like they have a bigger cause.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, if Trump has, you know, the highest approval rating of any president, obviously that's not coming from people
Yeah.
on that stream. So, like, okay, so you're saying 76% of us? Okay, that leaves 24 of y'all nutbags.
Yeah.
And whatever. And even then, like, all you gotta say is, like, oh, Timothy over there hates gays. Or, you know, whatever. Like, he said fag once in 96.
Yeah.
And, oh, they'll go and just beat the shit out of each other for fucking eons. Like, you don't have to worry about them much.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Bread and circus for the clowns. You know what I
Yes.
mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's a really disturbing proposition to think about
Mhm.
what true American Civil War would look like, because I just think that there's so many dividing factors, and I think that there is one thing I think above and beyond all that could, if we could get this to happen,
Mhm.
we could avoid a civil war 100%, if not completely unify. And that is to let's address, and we're going to do this in a later show, so we're not going to dive too deep into this, but if we could all as a people address the notion of racism and how fucking bullshit it is. Not
Yeah.
being a racist is bullshit. The fact that every single fucking person is a racist, because
Yes.
they will tell you, and this is coming from a fucking damn near lifelong fucking skinhead up until my fucking late 20s. They will tell you a different definition of racism to fit whatever narrative they want to fit. Back in the day, racism just used to be hating a person based on their skin color. That was the complete definition of racism. And now there is like 3 pages of definitions of racism. Here's racism. Racism isn't necessarily even a bad thing. It's tribalism. When you say it's nationalism. When you say tribalism, nobody bats an eye.
No.
When you say nationalism, there's a few people out there that are like, it seems weird. I think I've heard that before, but I'm not sure. But most people don't bat an eye. But when you say racism, then it's, we're programmed. That programming kicks in. Well, what we need to do with this racism thing is we all need to hit the table and say, hey, guys, team white people, we want to know what you guys, team black people, team brown people, team yellow people, team green people, team orange people, we want to know what you hate about us and what we can work on. Then we go, hey, team black people, this is what we don't like about you and this is what you need to work on. Team brown people. And then we all do this. And then at the end of it, we say, hey, is this some shit we think we can work on and probably make all of our lives better? Fuck the government. Fuck the country. If nothing else, let's make our lives better. I think we could do this, and everybody would eventually agree because during those conversations, you would get it out that nobody really wants normal people. Nobody really wants superiority. There's not really anybody fighting for white superiority of the globe. There's not anybody really fighting for black superiority of the globe. Now there are people fighting for this, but I mean, let's be honest. Like they're not going anywhere. They're screaming outside of libraries to 6 people. Like it's not. They're not going anywhere. You know. No. And then we can get the idea that racism is just a constructed fucking psyop to get us all to hate each other, and we can understand that. Hey, man, hey. I totally understand you, like being a former skinhead. I could look at a black dude and be like, hey, I can totally understand why you're proud of your culture. Like you have done some really kick-ass shit. You have gone some really kick-ass places as a culture. You have fought some really fucking tough battles as a culture. We could get all of this out. Because right now, every culture feels like they're supposed to shut up a little bit more than the next because we're not allowed to talk. And then it finally circles back to white people. And white people feel like we're not allowed to talk about anything. But the problem is that we're the ones running most of the shit. So we're in this whole mental cavern of we've got to give away the farm so that we don't get a label. When if we could just have the conversation, we could avoid all the wars. We could avoid all the personal wars. We could avoid the person at Starbucks wanting the other person to fucking with a MAGA hat to die. We could avoid the lady at Chuck E. Cheese wanting to beat the fuck out of some kid for stealing we could avoid all of these little tiny things,
What's really gonna pop your noodle is now, this is little fucking dorky ass Mike, in the 90s. Now, I didn't see this as this big of a problem then. Now, again, that was just me, fucking teenage, little ass, skinny, scrawny, nerdy Mike. Like, I didn't see this racism thing being a big thing at all. And I'm looking back and I'm trying to think, and I don't really ever. I mean, I don't recall seeing that.
Oh,
yeah, at times. So. I mean, you were on that side. I mean, was there a lot of looking back, was there this much everyone is racist?
Fucking no way. I mean, not by any stretch of the imagination. There was times, I'll be honest with you, there was times where I would give talks in the 90s as a kid, fucking like a 15-year-old, 16-year-old CO, a fucking clique. I'd be giving talks to the dudes. And I'd be having to I'd be really having to stretch some shit. The fucking Panthers are out here, you got to understand. And they're starting to sect off into different cliques and blah, blah, blah. And You know, really, I mean, when we went up against the bangers, especially the black bangers, like the Mexican bangers were out for Mexico. Like they were out for
Oh yeah.
Mexicans, but the black bangers were just out for their gang. Like it didn't matter what fucking color they were wearing. They were
Oh
out for whatever that fucking color stood for, you know, but the Mexicans were always out for the Mexicans, you know.
yeah.
As soon as you get involved with some white dudes, the Mexicans were out for Mexicans.
Yeah. Okay. So now let's take that a step further. I would say that if we could get the media machine and all that comes along with that, get rid of it, I would say all this racism shit ends within 8 years.
If we could get rid of the media machine, a lot of things would end long soon, a lot
Yes,
sooner
yeah.
than 8 years.
But I'm saying like we wouldn't need that talk because this is being pushed by white people. This is for sure being pushed
Yeah.
by white people.
Yeah.
Now, that is causing racism and you're a racist and all this stuff to be an excuse used by the masses. But it's being pushed by white people. It's being pushed that we as white people need to feel bad. We as white people, we need to stand up for the people. Like it's reverse racism,
Yeah.
essentially. Like I'm offended for you because you can't be offended for you. Like,
Right.
what?
Yeah. Savior complex.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't get that. Like to me, I'd be more pissed off at that than I would be at some random Joe Schmo because of what he is. Like, but
So go ahead. I'm sorry.
oh no, no. I mean, I think that we wouldn't need that talk if that line of thought were to not be pushed anymore. Like it was just gone tomorrow. I would say after a good few years, we wouldn't need that talk anymore.
Here's what I will say. If we got rid of the media machine, the division would slow down to a creeping crawl
Yeah.
within a year. Within a year, well within a year,
Yeah.
probably well within 6 months. If we just got rid of every news fucking station.
Uh-huh.
But here's the issue that has been caused. Okay, so in the many years, we should be really doing this on another show.
I know.
But in the many years of this many years, it's like let's just say the past 2 decades. Okay, the white people, normal white people, have gotten so sick and tired of hearing about how shitty they are that they've started researching things. They've started looking into things. They've started looking at statistics, and they've started to notice things that don't make sense, like 14.4% of the population makes up 72% of the violent crime. They see this thing. So now that people are more educated on a broad spectrum, on a numbers only basis, not a people level, but a numbers bit level, they're starting to feel the hatred again. I wouldn't say it's a hatred. I would say it's a tribalism. I would say it's more of a devotion to their own than to others. And in doing that, going through that transition, people are starting to feel really slighted. That we feel like we've had to give up our heritage, we've had to give up our history, we've had to give up half of our lives, we've had to give up our way of living, we've had to give up all the good things that we could have experienced because of this narrative that is now 100% blown holes in, you know? So I think the result of the media machine, it could have worked if that was, if division was truly their thing. I think it could have worked, but I think it could have worked on a core level, but I don't think it worked the way they thought it would work. I think everybody would stay stupid, everybody would stay ignorant, and they would just squawk at each other, and people got a little bit more educated. And I'm not saying only white people. I'm saying Mexicans, I'm saying black people, I'm saying Asian people. Like everybody did more research, and everybody, we got to a point where we wanted more answers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But,
yeah.
I think if
media machine.
yeah,
But that's why I said 8 years. Because I mean, if it went away tomorrow, like there was no more news channels, and all that shit. Like, yeah, it'd be great, but I think it needs time. It needs a good few years to kind of get that 2 decades of shit that's been ingrained in people.
Yeah. Well, and the media machine is almost done. I mean, CNN just fucking they just fired what's her face because she was getting 40,000 fucking viewers a show, which is the size of a medium podcast. You know, Rachel Maddow, they pay her $100 million a year for 1 hour a week, and she gets 100,000 viewers. Like that's a medium podcast. Like it's. What are you guys doing? And you're dumping millions, hundreds of millions of dollars into this. Like the media machine's dead. It just refuses to roll over. So
yes. It's kicking until it can't kick anymore. But
the new media machine is right on its heels. That's the podcasters. We're going to get into that on a whole nother show.
Oh yeah. Stay tuned for that one, everybody.
But yeah, so yeah, but I think when it comes to the Americans' addictions to war, I think if nothing else, if we could just sit ourselves down with a mirror and have a good conversation with the person in the mirror about how we feel about war, how we feel about people dying, how we feel about people starving to death, suffering, bleeding out in ditches, how we feel about children being bombed, how we feel about anything regarding war, you're going to find that you don't like it. And we can make them stop fucking happening if we would stop promoting it. You know, we get so visceral, we get so emotionally activated when we feel, when we feel these headlines, you know, because people don't read anything, they feel things. So it's like, I felt that headline and now I've got to go espouse this rhetoric. Yeah. We need to get rid of this addiction to war. We need to get rid of this, and on a people level, we need to get rid of this addiction to a personal war with those around you.
Everybody.
Know, the people at Starbucks aren't your fucking enemy. The people at Walmart aren't your fucking enemy. The people at the jewelry store aren't your enemy. But yet, just because they hold a certain opinion, we're all of a sudden, you know, mortal enemies.
Personalize it if you have to. Like, you know, hey, you know, like you were saying earlier, would you want your kid to go to war? Okay, let's take that a step backwards. Okay, would you want your kid to be a victim of somebody that killed him just because he had a difference of opinion? Like,
no.
Would you want your kid to be shot by some guy in a MAGA hat? Fuck no. Why would you want to go shoot a MAGA hat guy? Like,
right.
I'm just that example, but like, personalize it if you have to. Play devil's advocate with yourself. Like, hey, okay, if this happened to me and my family, wow, okay, that's fucked up.
Yeah. Yeah, and I got a perfect example story for you, basically based on your idea of personalizing it. So I was in a conversation with a guy, this was a couple of years back, and we were just bullshitting, you know, and we worked together and we were talking about this story of there was a drive-through, and the kid at the drive-through, there was a semi-truck driver, and he obviously couldn't get through the drive-through, so he parked his rig off to the side, and then he walked through the drive-through because the office or the lobby hours was closed. Well, the kid wouldn't serve him because you have to be in a car, you have to be in a vehicle to be served at a drive-through, and this is a very well-known rule at every single drive-through on Earth. You know, you have to be in a vehicle. So the kid wouldn't serve him. Well, the guy fucking went nuts and like drugged the kid halfway out the fucking window and punched him in the face, saying because the kid was being an asshole because all he wanted was to order some fucking food because he couldn't drive his truck, blah blah blah. And the guy I was talking to was all about the dude, the truck driver, like fuck yeah, fuck that dude. All he wanted was a fucking burger, but blah 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 blah. And we got an argument about it. I was like, that's the dumbest shit. If I was standing there, that motherfucker would have been taking a dirt nap real quick. And he got fucking pissed. And I was like, think about this, motherfucker. If your kid was working the window and told the guy, hey, I'm sorry, but it's either my job or you don't get served because as the sign says, you have to be in a vehicle to get served. If your kid got drugged halfway out the window for following the rules at his fucking place of business, you would be still siding with the truck driver? And he goes, I'd kill that motherfucker. And then it clicked. Right there, he's like, it fucking clicked. People personalize this shit. Like Mikey said, personalize it. If you're getting in a situation where you want to start hurting people or you want other people to start hurting other people, you know, because that's typically the way it goes. I don't mind if other people hurt other people. I just don't want them to hurt my people. Personalize it. Is this okay? You're going to throw your daughter in the mix of that? You're going to throw your fucking son into the mix of that? Or is it really not that important enough for people to be dying about?
Yeah, you're going to tag this person's car? Okay, what if it happened to you? Or your kids' cars? Like, you want your kid, or you want to go out to your car after work and be like, fuck.
Right.
Car's demolished.
Yeah. If you don't want it to happen to you, don't pray for it to happen to somebody else. How about that? Unless they got it coming. Like if it's a pedophile, pray for all the bad shit on earth.
Oh yeah.
So that being said, let's get to a giggle, Mikey. Let's get to the feel good section of the show where we reinstill the faith and humanity in ourselves and other people with this little segment called Hopelessly Human that starts a little bit like
People can be really rough. They can be quite tough. They can get in the way, but at the end of the day, some aren't only stupid, some are hopelessly human.
All right, what you got for us for our Hopelessly Human segment, Mikey?
All right, so this one comes from Japan. And this story goes, 30 years of marriage, his wife lost her sight and a few other like things due to diabetes complications. She became withdrawn, wouldn't go outside, and he wanted to make her happy again. So he built a garden that was just like, he built like the most fragrant flowers out there. And then she started like, because she couldn't see anymore. So he made this again, like she's blind now. Like, wow, okay, I smell that garden. I smell all these flowers. And then like she started going outside again. She started enjoying the garden, like the fragrances, and that people would come and like visit the super fragrant garden. And like it totally turned her life around. And it's just one of those things like you do for your spouse. Like, I mean, and that's a deep, and that's a big effort. Like,
yeah, that's a huge effort.
To take that, like, okay, my wife lost her sight and whatever. Now she's not leaving the house. She's completely depressed. Okay, let's bring the garden to her in a sense. She can't see it. Let's smell it.
That's a lot of weight for a person to carry while they're carrying out that task of building that garden. You know, that's a huge amount of sorrow to carry, knowing, you know, like if you think about it even for a second, you know, if you lost your own sight, you'd be like, oh fuck. But if your wife lost her sight, you'd be way more fucked up. Because if it was you, like, you know, if it's you, it's like, all right, we got to deal with this. We got to figure out a way through this. But it's, you know, it's the person you care most about.
Then you sit there and watch it happen.
And then to go out and work your fucking ass off, because that's what it takes to do a garden like that. Yeah, you work your ass off in the hopes, no guarantee, just the hopes of you can spark a little bit of happiness back into that person. That's amazing. I love that shit. I love this segment. So long talking shit about the world, and then it's like, oh, all right, good people still exist.
Yes. And it's just like there's a lot out there, but nobody hears about these people.
No.
Which is why we have to do a segment.
That's why we got to do a segment. So, guys, if you want to help out some good people, check us out. Follow us on Instagram at Savagely Loud Podcast page. And on that page, you will find links to my personal page, Savagely Loud. And you will find a link to Woldy2. That's Mikey's personal page. You can hit us on Facebook at the Savagely Loud Podcast page. Savagely Loud and Clifford Moore III are mine. Mikey Wold is on is what he is on Facebook. Savagely Loud Podcast page is the important one, really. You can email us in with any suggestions, ideas, comments, shit talking, or whatever. SavagellyLoudPodcast@gmail.com. You can also find us on YouTube. We are on YouTube, but because of what we talk about and how we talk about it, we don't know how long we'll be on there. So if you can get us there, great.
Our gorgeous bugs.
Yeah. Other than that, find us everywhere on Spotify, all your favorite platforms. Like, share, follow, review, do all the great things. We appreciate your help, your support. We appreciate you listening. We appreciate you coming along for the ride as we figure this whole thing out, because it's new for both of us in a sense. So yeah, let's
Yep.
just
Help
end
us
the
out.
show. All right, later. Oh,
What happened to your button?
I forgot the button, so I'm gonna have to add that in later. But here's the button.
Still recording.
A little extra for our video only people. I stopped the audio
That's
recording
cool.
before the outro. We're done.